Hi there, I'm Dawn Livingston and welcome to the Transcend and Succeed show. Today I have an amazing guest who's going to talk to us about toxicity. So stick around and I'll introduce him right after this video. So today I am delighted to introduce to you Sandy Goel. Sandy tells me he is a regular guy who took an interest in alternative health and wellness to help his mother back to health. He went on a mission to find the best alternative approach, and during his search, he stumbled across a company that was just launching. And Sandy is now actively involved with these wellness products, which have seen tens of thousands of people improve their health. So, welcome to the show, Sandy.
Hi, Dawn. Thank you very much for having me.
You're so welcome. So, let's dive right in. So, can you tell us what got you started on researching toxicity and the effects on the body?
Absolutely. Before I do that, I just want to reiterate that what you just said. I am a regular guy. I'm not medically qualified. I'm not trained in any alternative health therapies or anything like that. And in fact, what I did and still do a little bit to this day now is before I started what I'm doing now is I'm a security guard, and I was doing that pretty much full time pre-COVID. So to answer your question, what got me involved? Well, my mum had a very, very serious stroke in June 2016, where she was hospitalized for about 6 weeks. Luckily, there was no paralysis or slurring speech like you do with most stroke victims. However, she did lose her swallowing reflex, which means that she couldn't eat or drink anything. She had to be fed through a tube in the stomach. And she got that back 3 months after being discharged. Now, I knew that Western medicine wouldn't get her back to good health. So I took her here, there, and everywhere on a quest to improve her health and longevity. So I took her to naturopaths, kinesiologists, nutritionists, healers, all sorts. And I learned a hell of a lot along the way, a hell of a lot. I made some very good contacts and some very good friends. June 2019, she got diagnosed with very early stage breast cancer. And again, I took her here, there, and everywhere. And that didn't really help. the NHS in the end, the NHS stands for the National Health Service, and that's our healthcare system in the UK, which we're fortunate to have in the UK because it's free. In the end, the NHS dealt with it by taking the tumour out by surgery. However, she did get very serious side effects from the general anaesthetic, and she had high blood pressure, and she was type 2 diabetic. And in January 2020, she passed away very suddenly and unexpectedly with a pulmonary embolism, which means blood clot to the lung. Does that answer your question, Dawn, or do you want me to talk about?
It was about how you got involved in researching toxicity.
Yeah.
What actually got you to that?
Absolutely. So, Mum, I used to take Mum to see a very close friend called Claire Harvey, who's a flower remedies expert. And in February that year, I went to see Claire to formulate a blend to deal with my grief. And at the end of the session, she said to me, there's a new zeolite product coming out. And I said to her, Claire, I'm not in the frame of mind. However, send me the details and I'll take a look. March 2020, we all know what happens. We get put under global lockdown. So my work dries up because I was a security guard at events. So obviously there's no events. And Claire then invited me onto a webinar with a guy called Clayton Thomas. And Clayton Thomas is the CEO and founder of a company called The Root Brands. And I thought, all right, I'll go on this webinar. I'm not doing anything else. We can't go out anyway. So I go into this webinar, and Clayton starts talking about things that I had never, ever heard anyone in the alternative health field talk about, which was that we're all toxic. And what I mean by that is environmental toxins, and I'll discuss that in a minute.
Sure.
And unless we get rid of the toxins, we're not going to get back to good health.
Yeah.
And the root cause of a lot of disease is toxicity.
Yeah.
And then he started talking about his product, and I got very angry, Dawn, like really angry, not with him, but with all these other alternative health practitioners who I took Mum to see and who I'd met over the years, because none of them ever talked about toxicity, not one of them. They're very happy to talk about their own therapies and pills and potions and such, but they never talked about toxicity. And even now to this day, I wonder what would have happened had we dealt with the toxicity in Mum's body.
Yeah, I understand, and toxicity is very prevalent today, and I know we're going to talk about more, get more in depth into that. But will you talk to us about environmental toxins? How do we get toxic?
Sure. Okay. Environmental toxins are everywhere. Okay, so what do I mean by environmental toxins? So air pollutants. You could just got to look at the pollution. You just got to look at vehicle emissions, factory emissions, etc., etc. Water contaminants. So our water is toxic. The rain is toxic. So obviously our water is going to be toxic. Pesticides, heavy metals, herbicides, things, radioactive particles, things like that. Soil contaminants, same thing. Industrial chemicals, when they're disposed of, they leak out into the environment, and they
Yeah.
get in the soil, and they get in the water. Pesticides, herbicides, heavy metals. What I mean by heavy metals
Yeah.
is mercury, lead, arsenic, aluminium, cadmium, etc., etc. Radioactive materials. Look at
Well,
Chernobyl.
let's go back to the heavy metals, actually. Let me ask
Sure.
you a little extra question there. How do we get heavy metals in our body?
Okay, so we get heavy metals in our body mainly through, I'd say, inhalation. You just got to look at vehicle exhaust emissions, factory emissions. Now, these emissions have tiny particles, and these particles you can't see with the naked eye, and they're in our air, they're in our water, they're in the soil, so they'll be in the food. So when we breathe, every time we breathe, we're breathing in these particles of heavy metals. Okay. And they go into the body, they go into the cells, and they don't come out. You don't just expel them. They lodge into the cells and they cause disruption. And what the disruption then does is cause inflammation. That inflammation then leads to disease.
Okay.
So every time you breathe, Dawn, you're breathing in, like, despite if the air is clean. I mean, obviously, there are some parts of the world or the environment where you're breathing in cleaner air than others. Like, for example, Delhi in India is very heavily polluted. So you're not going to breathe in as much toxins in, say, London as you would in Delhi. So yeah, it's pretty much unescapable, to be honest, Dawn. You can't
Okay.
really...
Well, heavy metal toxicity, and my mind is taken immediately to mercury. And I know the amalgam fillings contain mercury. What effect does that have? Because I remember reading about it many years ago, and I went to the dentist and said, I want you to take all these amalgam fillings out, and I want, the white fillings put in. And he took them all out for me and put nice white ones in. But how long have the fillings to be in before your body is actually absorbing the mercury that's in them?
Okay, as soon as the amalgam fillings are put in, the mercury, and by the way, amalgam fillings are 50% mercury from what I understand.
Yeah.
The mercury starts to off gas, so it can leach into your body straight away. Before I answer your question about what the amalgams do, can I read you a comprehensive list of what the symptoms of mercury toxicity are? And it's a
Yes, you
very,
can.
it's a very... Okay, so what mercury does is disrupt the biological functions of the body on different levels. And everyone is different, and everyone reacts in their own unique
Their own
way.
way. Sure.
But mercury is not your friend. They cause very serious adverse reactions. Okay, so in the respiratory system, the presence of mercury in the lungs causes breathing disorders like asthma, bronchitis, breathlessness, persistent cough, and bad breath. It affects your cognitive ability, so it affects your brain function, because what the mercury does is it binds to nerves and fat, so it gets absorbed easily into the brain, and that will cause things like Alzheimer's, dementia, poor memory, difficulty multitasking, brain fog. Brain fog is huge. I'd say most people
Mhm.
suffer from brain fog. I know I certainly did.
Sure.
Lack of motivation, change in mood. Now, and I never knew this. I've learned so much over the past few years, but Mercury is also linked to fears, anxieties, irritability, fits of rage, panic attacks, mood swings, loss of self-confidence, withdrawal, easily embarrassed. You know, the sort of negative traits of your personality, the parts
Sure.
of you that you hate.
Mhm.
Also, it can cause you to have hallucinations. So apparently, nightmares can be caused by Mercury. So
Okay.
yeah. Also, reproductive and sexual health. So low non-existent libido, precocious or late puberty, infertility, miscarriages, stillbirth, and in men, it can impact the the urinary system as well. It
Okay.
can impact on the musculoskeletal system, like joints, muscles, etc., and the cardiovascular system and your hormonal health. So it pretty much affects everything, to be
Yeah.
honest.
That's very interesting. That is an extremely long list. It's quite concerning, really. Um, uh, would we consider, I mean, glyphosate is an environmental toxin, but that's something that is really detrimental to the body. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Glyphosate is a herbicide and it's used in something called Roundup. And Roundup is very, very heavily used, especially in the States, for like treating lawns and
Oh, yeah,
bushes.
we see it all over the place
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
All over the
And
place. Yeah.
and it's a carcinogenic.
Mm.
And yeah, it's pretty. I mean, I've been doing a bit of research on what glyphosate does, and let me see if I can find it. It's did you hear about that case a few years ago where that guy who was looking after lawns, he got cancer as a result of glyphosate, and he won millions of dollars from Monsanto? Did you hear about that?
Monsanto. I think there's been a few cases around. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, yeah. So basically, it's a carcinogen. It disrupts the endocrine system, which means
Mhm.
that it disrupts your hormonal system. Um, it can lead to gastro problems and breathing difficulties. But it's kind of like a slow sort of, I don't want to say killer, but slow burner. So it can, as it accumulates in your tissues, it slowly starts to act.
Mhm.
It's really, it's not many people talk about it actually. And it is so important that people are aware of what glyphosate does so that they can do something about it.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, I know it's used and sprayed on the crops here for, genetically modified seeds. The glyphosate is sprayed really heavy on all sorts of foods here. And yeah, I'm very, very aware of it and trying to get, enhance the awareness of others about, the detriment of glyphosate being sprayed on our food, which is not good, at all.
No, yeah, especially processed foods
Yes.
are like they'll be full of it, like your cereals, bread,
Yeah.
etc.
And
Yeah,
I hear over here that they'll put tons of potatoes into a big shed, and then they'll cover them with glyphosate just to dry them out, and it's not washed off. You're
Oh,
buying
wow.
the potatoes in the store, and they're still covered in glyphosate. So make sure you give them a really, really good scrub or peel them. I know it's quite prevalent here, unfortunately.
Wow.
But listen, now's a good time. We're going to take a quick commercial break to hear from our sponsors, but stick around, because after the break, Sandy is going to tell us about his first job, and you'll never be able to think about where it was that he worked. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Eva Black Occurrence here, and I am the host of One Punch Superstars, where we meet real people who chose to fight for their hopes and their dreams and become the champions of their destiny. You can find us on Achieve TV every Tuesday and Wednesday at noon Mountain Standard Time, right here on E360 TV.
Holy Hydrogen introduces the most powerful health enhancement device in the world, the Lord's Hydrofix Premium Edition. Studies have shown therapeutic potential for cancer, diabetes, digestive and heart issues, and essentially every organ and system in the body. Visit holyhydrogen.com to see the latest technology that elevates your immune system and fights inflammation. This isn't medical advice, but if you have any health concerns, I strongly recommend that you learn more about hydrogen. Visit holyhydrogen.com to learn more about this groundbreaking gold standard hydrogen generator that for a reasonable price creates therapeutic quality hydrogen gas for inhalation and hydrogen infused water for consumption. Remember, holyhydrogen.com.
And we're back, and we are talking about all things toxicity with Sandy. And Sandy, you're going to tell us about your first job.
Yeah. My first job, it was the best job I've ever had. Still to this day. I used to work at Buckingham Palace because in 1993, they opened it to the public. The staterooms, that is. So like the throne room, the ballroom, the dining room, etc. And I was a student at university at the time, and a friend of mine got me the job, and it was incredible. Just absolutely loved it.
Yeah. Did you get up to anything behind the scenes that you shouldn't have done?
Oh, plenty. We used to take advantage of our sort of authority because we had uniforms with epaulets, and so and we were carrying walkie-talkies, so we kind of looked like policemen back then, back in the 90s, not now, but So we used to wander around the park and get free hot dogs because the hot dog vendors thought we were policemen.
That's cheeky.
Yeah, yeah. Also, they used to throw a party for us inside the palace and a party for all the staff. And back in the 90s, we could smoke cigarettes inside venues like pubs and clubs, and the palace was no different. I worked there in 93 and 94, and at the party in 1994, after a bit, we got a bit merry, as you would, with all the free wine and cocktails and beers, whatever. And we wandered to the throne room, sat on the throne, sparked up a few cigarettes, took photos. Needless to say, I never got invited back for 1995, and I was absolutely gutted.
That's really funny. That's terrible. Tisk, Sandy.
I know. I just love that job, Dawn. It was brilliant.
There you go. I'm sure it was. Okay, so I know you're not making any medical claims or anything, and everything that you're telling us today is from your own experience. So will you talk to us then about this product, about detoxing the body safely?
Yeah, absolutely. So that webinar I went on in March 2020 with the founder of the Root brand, Clayton Thomas. He started talking about a product called Clean Slate, and I believe you have a bottle there, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. Okay. I'll talk about what Clean Slate is. So Clean Slate is a zeolite derived product. More specifically, clinoptilolite zeolite. And what I'm going to call it Clinozeo for ease, but what Clinozeo is nature's most effective detoxifier. And this crystal, because it's a crystal, comes from volcanic ash, and it's used to mop up the environment. It's nature's way of helping to mop up the environment after a volcanic eruption. So as you can imagine, zeolite has been around for eons. And the Romans used to use it, and the Mayans used to use it to clean up their waterways. So what Clean Slate is, it's the key ingredient is called orthosilicic acid, and this is derived from the zeolite, from the clinoptilolite zeolite. And the formulator, who is Clayton's wife, Dr. Christina Rahm, absolutely amazing woman.
She is indeed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's a bioscience engineer, nanotechnologist, very highly qualified. I think she's got quite a few PhDs from Harvard, Cornell, and she used to work in Big Pharma. And she used to, and so she left Big Pharma maybe 10, 15 years ago, and she used the knowledge and expertise that she learned in those roles to apply to nutraceuticals.
Mm-hmm.
So what she did, she got the zeolite crystal and formulated it in such a way so that this crystal can penetrate the cell membrane. Mm-hmm. And the crystal has a charge, like a magnetic charge. It's actually negatively charged, and toxins like heavy metals like mercury, lead, arsenic, cadmium, glyphosate, all the viral particles, strontium, etc., they're positively charged. So the crystal in the cell attracts the toxins. They go into the crystal, which is shaped like a cage, and they're trapped in there. In the process, no other scientist has done this, but in the process of these toxins coming into the crystal, silica is made bioavailable and released, because the zeolite crystal is an aluminosilicate, which means that it has silica as part of its chemical composition. And silica is a trace mineral responsible for skin, bones, teeth, hair, nails, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And then you literally pee out the toxins. So what Clean Slate has, it has not only a detox effect, but a regenerative effect as well. So it's kind of like a 2-in-1 product. It's pretty amazing, actually.
Mm-hmm. I'll have to say, I do take this, and I have taken this for years, and I do like it. But talk to us about the protocol. How do you take this, and how often?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Clean Slate is designed to work with a circadian rhythm, which basically means that it's designed to work with your sleep patterns. So you take it in the morning and you take it at night. And it's a very powerful product, okay? Now, it says on the bottle, take up to 10 drops twice. My advice to you, don't take 10 drops straight away. You've got to build up. So I advise people to take 1 drop in the morning and 1 drop at night. You take it under the tongue. It tastes salty, and a bit sort of sour, because it's got sea salt in it. And the reason the sea salt is in it is for the trace minerals, to prevent mineral gapping. And it's got vitamin C in there as well. So take 1 drop in the morning and 1 drop at night. And after about 3 or 4 days, increase to 2 drops in the morning and 2 drops at night. And make sure you're drinking plenty of water, because these toxins, they don't get lodged anywhere else in the body after you've taken Clean Slate. They come out through your pee. And obviously, you need to be drinking a lot of water.
Lots of water and staying hydrated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know there are some people that have been taking it, and haven't built up. And these people have been absolutely fine, which is great. But I always try it and say to people, do just like you do, build up just in case. But when we chatted before, you were talking about Clean Slate and the effect on a pineal gland. So will you elaborate a little bit more about that? Because that's very interesting to me.
Absolutely. So for those people who don't know what the pineal gland is, it's a gland in the center of the brain. And it's a very tiny gland. And next to the kidney, I don't know if you know this, Dawn, but next to the kidney, apparently it has the highest blood flow to any organ. Okay. The pineal gland is responsible for melatonin secretion and melatonin function. Melatonin is a hormone. It's known as the sleep hormone. So it gets released once you shut your eyes to help you go to sleep. And also, I made a few notes here, so let me let's see if I can. It's also
you talked about the pineal gland being calcified and how it helps with that.
So now the pineal gland is also responsible for your spiritual connection, so to your connection to God. Now the pineal gland in most of us, I'm talking about say 99 point whatever % of the population, is calcified, and what we mean by that is that it's crusted up and it's not working properly. And this is why this is one of the reasons why so many people have sleep disorders, because the melatonin is not being released. The circadian rhythm is messed up. So, but because of this calcification.
Mhm. Okay. And I am of the understanding, and maybe you could clarify, that one of the toxins that actually helps to calcify your pineal gland is actually the fluoride from the water.
Correct. Yes. Tap water tends to be fluoridated, and fluoride has got aluminium in it. Not only do you get fluoride from the water, but toothpaste as well.
Mhm.
So a lot of the big brands, I'm not going to mention the brands, but I think you know what the brands I'm talking about. They tend to be have fluoride toothpaste. So sorry, have fluoride in it, and the dentists tell you that is to prevent dental decay, etc. That's not strictly true.
Okay. Yeah. That was just clarifying what I knew. So thanks for that. And also something else you had mentioned about was graphene as a
Yeah,
toxin.
yeah. Okay. Graphene oxide.
Mhm.
It's being used in some medical interventions that have been rolled out over the past few years. And also, it's present in antibiotics. Now, I've got a very good friend called Caroline Mansfield, who's a live blood analyst and a naturopath. And she saw a video of a guy who got an antibiotic capsule, broke it apart, mixed it in solution of water, and noticed these magnetic particles inside the solution. And she was quite shocked. And she thought, I wonder if I can replicate that. And Dawn, can you load up the video, the first video?
Sure. Okay, let's just take a few seconds and watch this.
So what you see there is an antibiotic capsule that was quite old, 2013, I believe, that Caroline got from her medicine cabinet, mixed it with solution, and she replicated what she saw in this other guy's video. So you're seeing magnetic particles in antibiotic capsule.
Okay. So how does Clean Slate remove that? Just in the same way it encapsulates the graphene and removes it from the body?
Well, what I did, I asked her to add a few drops of Clean Slate to the solution, and you have a video showing what happened.
The second one I do. Okay, another few seconds. So that looks like the water's changed colour there.
Yeah. So what you're seeing there is that the black metallic particles have pretty much lost their charge. Now, we don't know whether it's been absorbed by the zeolite crystal. Our guess is that it has, and as a result, you're not seeing as many because you know, the density of those metallic particles is a lot less after the Clean Slate was added, and as a result, you're not seeing that many drawn to the magnet. So it's obviously having some sort of effect on
Okay.
the graphene oxide.
Yeah, it was very interesting. And what what effect do heavy metals have on the bloodstream, on the blood?
Okay, in terms of the graphene oxide, it can cause coagulation, so clotting.
Mm.
It can also,
Is that when they get sticky?
yeah, sticky. Do you want to? So Caroline also did some experimentation with regards to her blood after taking Clean Slate. Do you want to show the video of her blood cells before she took Clean Slate?
I can. This is before.
Okay, so here is my blood this morning. I did take 2 drops of Clean Slate last night, but I just wanted to show my before and after blood sample. I'm going to take 10 drops of slate now, and then I'll redo my blood and let's see.
Okay, so Caroline's blood is very, very healthy. She has a very clean diet. She doesn't really drink. She doesn't smoke. So her blood is very, very healthy. She then took about, I think she took about a few drops of Clean Slate and then analyzed her blood after. So do you want to show that video?
I can, yes.
Okay, and so just going in for higher magnification so you get a closer look at that. Sort of like beautifully just bouncing off each other, not sticking in any way, shape or form.
So as you can see there, the flow of the blood is quicker, bit more vibrant. So obviously Clean Slate is having a positive effect on blood and blood flow, really.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it's not sticky at all. So what other outcomes are you seeing with people that have certain conditions that are being taken to Clean Slate and are better? So what sort of conditions are you seeing?
Okay, so one of the most, I mean, we're getting thousands and thousands of testimonials, positive outcomes. But one of the most amazing testimonials that I've personally seen was a guy called Mark back in 2020, very serious psoriasis on his legs. Do you want to show the photo?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Now, worst case of psoriasis that Clayton has certainly seen, and many doctors, and this poor guy suffered with this condition on his legs for about 12 years, and he must have spent at least 30 grand trying to fix it. He got diagnosed with cellulitis, and the doctors warned him of amputation. Friend tells him about Clean Slate, and he starts taking it, I think 10 drops twice a day. And literally after a few weeks, or within a few weeks, his legs start clearing up. The bottom left-hand side slide shows his legs completely clear. And after spending 12 years and about 30 grand trying to fix his problem, he spends $70 on a bottle of Clean Slate, and he has the most profound results that he's ever seen and that the doctors have ever seen. So yeah, but cases like this, and again, we can't make any guarantees, promises, claims or anything like that, but these outcomes tend to be pretty common now.
Yeah, and I know of 2 people who have had conditions that have taken that product, and one of them is a good friend of mine who was going through menopause and had really, really bad hot flashes, and within 7 days of taking that, they had greatly diminished. So she was exceptionally happy. And another friend of mine actually who had been abroad, and she had contracted some kind of tummy bug or food poisoning, and I think she'd had 2 lots of antibiotics from the doctor since she got home, and it wasn't working whatsoever. And I had mentioned this product to her, and she thought, well, I'm going to try it. I'm just going to try it and see if it works. And she was another one that called me after 7 days saying, this is the only thing I've changed. And now I feel perfectly great. My stomach is back to normal. So there definitely has been, you know, it really is. It's great. Toxicity, I truly understand to be very disruptive to the body, like you've been talking about. Yeah. So maybe you can talk about pets. Are these products fine for pets as well?
Absolutely. And in fact, we've had great results with animals,
Yeah.
including birds, believe it or not. And when I say birds, I'm talking about, you know, birds of prey like hawks. I've got a friend in Dubai who's got a very good friend who breeds hawks. And this person has been giving the hawks clean slate and has noticed better performance as a result. But most people don't have hawks. Most people have like cats and dogs, etc. Yeah, we've been getting great results, including, again, no promises, no guarantees, no claims, but things like tumors disappearing. One animal, which was a goldfish, even changed color because the owner was putting the drops in the goldfish bowl, and the fish actually changed color. I think it was black, but after a few weeks, it started to turn like, you know, silver, glowing silver. So that was pretty interesting. And I believe your cat.
Oh yes, I'm happy to tell that story. We have 4 cats, my husband and I. We've got 3 girls and a boy, and one of our girls, when she would come up and curl up on my lap, she would smell like the litter box. And of course, you'd put her down and hope she'd go and clean herself. And then when she came back, and it was like this for about 3 weeks. And it was my sister. I had mentioned to my sister what was happening. And she said, oh, she's maybe contracted a bit of a UTI. And I thought, oh, maybe she hadn't thought about that at all. And it was only her, it wasn't the other cats. So I decided to put a drop of my clean slate in her food. I would just put 1 drop in with whatever I was giving her, whether it be tuna fish or chicken, whatever, 1 drop in that once a day. And I could not smell that after about 3 or 4 days. So I was really sold on that one. And now I give all of them 1 drop every day in their food in the morning, just to keep these sort of things at bay. But my understanding is they now actually have a pet range. So I believe Dr. Ram has formulated the clean slate for pets in a different way so that it's more bioavailable for animals. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that pet range launched, I think it was like April, May, and it's called the Bill and Coo range.
Bill and Coo.
Yeah, Bill and Coo. So I don't know why they named it Bill and Coo, but yeah, and that's just for animals.
Okay, the animal range. I'm definitely going to invest some for my mogs. Okay.
Yeah, and if you're giving your animals clean slate, always put it in food. Don't put it in water. The reason why is because animals tend to eat more than they drink. So yeah, always put the drops on food.
And I was also seeing some testimonials from owners of dogs, and older dogs tend to get the glaucoma coming in, and it's just within a matter of a couple of weeks it's starting to make a difference to that.
Yeah, absolutely, because the floaters are actually caused by mercury, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So once you get rid of the toxins, then the body can repair itself and heal. And things that were plaguing us before start to go away. And that includes the floaters.
Okay. All right. So I know we have like a 35-second video about clean slate that we want to run. Are you okay with me running that just now?
Absolutely.
Okay, hold on. Here we go. Smashing product. Okay, I know that you want to extend an offer to the viewers today if they want to try the clean slate. I'll put some information up on the screen if you want to talk to us about it.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So if you scan the code that's showing up on the screen, and you buy Clean Slate, what I will personally do is send $10 to your back office within the Root Brand website to spend towards your next purchase. So one bottle, I believe, is $69 US. So plus shipping and taxes. So on your next purchase, you can you'll get $10 off. So obviously that's $59.
Okay, let me just get a little correction there. It's not 69, it's 74.
Oh, sorry, I was going by the old
Right.
price. Sorry about that. Yeah.
74. Yeah. Okay. So no, that's very kind of you. That's fabulous, and that'll let people try it out. Should they believe that they have any form of toxicity?
Yeah.
And I know in the main range, the first three products, the first one was the clean slate. I know there was another two, and they are formulated synergistically, is my understanding, so that the three of them together work super, super well. And there's another two products, and I want you just to talk. We've got a few minutes left, so I just thought you might take a minute just to talk about them. So
Yeah,
do you
no
want to
problem.
talk about the first one, which is
Yeah,
Zero
that's
In?
Zero In.
This is a
Yeah.
capsule.
Yeah, so Zero In is a nootropic, which means that it's designed specifically for the brain, and it's designed to boost the hormones dopamine and serotonin into your brain and gut, and so improves mood, focus, energy, motivation, etc. Again, completely natural. I liken it to the Limitless pill. You know, the Bradley Cooper movie, Limitless?
Yes.
I kind of liken it to that because it kind of helps you get into the zone and just be very calm, very chilled.
It gives you
So,
energy without
yeah,
that jittery feeling, I find.
yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
it's like having a shot of caffeine without the jitters. Mhm.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Can I
and
just
the
add
third one.
something about Clean Slate
Yeah.
before we talk about Restore? So now, if you follow the dosage guidelines, which will get you once you purchase, your first bottle of Clean Slate is going to last you for at least 3 months. Remember, if you start off slowly,
Oh,
one drop in the morning, one drop at night, and then gradually build up. I take 5 in the morning and 5 at night. And my bottle will last me for 7 weeks. So it's a very cost-effective cellular detox. Very
it sure is.
cost-effective.
Sure is.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, just quickly, because we've only got a minute left. Let's talk about this Restore.
Yeah. Okay. Restore tastes absolutely delicious, like orange creamsicles. And it's designed to repair the gut and the microbiome. Full of yummy ingredients like black seed oil, curcumin, resveratrol, aloe vera, etc., etc. And it's just designed to fix that lining. It also helps address parasites and fungus.
Yeah, and the three of them taken together have a very synergistic effect. That was exactly what I found when I started to take them. But, you know, it's just full of nutrition. I do like them. All right, Sandy, we are out of time. So I want to say thank you so much for coming
Thank
on,
you.
give us all this information and education. Very, very worthwhile. So thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. And just a quick thank you to the viewers, and we will see you next week. Take care now.